Thanks, Bill. Good evening. The news now from Meridian. Health officials are urgently trying to trace 500 former hospital patients across our region because they're at risk from the hepatitis C virus. Lee White reports.
Hepatitis C helpline can help you.
A dedicated helpline has been taking calls all day from women worried by the news. Nearly 500 former hospital patients have been informed that they may have been exposed to the hepatitis C virus. Among them, 355 from Medway and 75 from Dartford. All came into contact during surgery with a healthcare worker who's since been found to be infected with the virus. But experts say the risk to patients is very small.
The risk is less than 1 in 1,000. I do not expect any of the 500 people we've invited to be positive. This is only a precautionary measure.
The healthcare professional, who can't be identified, worked in obstetrics and gynecology, mainly at the Medway Maritime Hospital in Gillingham, but also for a year at the Darrant Valley Hospital near Dartford and briefly at the Basildon Hospital in Essex, as well as in Berkshire. All of the patients contacted are being offered screening this week. Hospital staff are not being tested because they're said not to be at risk. Many of the women affected will have been exposed while giving birth. As yet, there are no plans to screen their children.
The babies in those situations do not have a risk because the healthcare worker would not be doing any procedures on the baby themselves.
It took 8 months for health officials to contact patients, mainly because this is the first case of its kind in the country and expert advice had to be sought, but also because health officials had to trawl through 8 years of hospital records. They say that anyone who doesn't receive a letter can be reassured they're at no risk whatsoever, and they're not expecting anyone to test positive for hepatitis C.
Concern is growing tonight for a woman who's failed to return to her holiday home in Kent after going for a swim in the sea. A military helicopter and a lifeboat have carried out an extensive search around the Laysdown area of the Isle of Sheppey. The search for Lita Connor, who's 49 and from London, was called off after crews found no trace of her. A 37-year-old man today denied charges that he took a hand grenade on board a jumbo jet. Hazil Ramahan Allen pleaded not guilty to 3 charges at the Old Bailey, 2 under the Explosives Act and 1 under the Aviation Act. He was remanded in custody to face trial in January next year. A man's appeared in court accused of stabbing a 66-year-old man to death in Kent. Richard Cromarty was found with multiple stab wounds at an address in Maidstone last week. Shirzad Mohammed, who's from the town, was charged with his murder yesterday. Magistrates have remanded him in custody. There's a threat that the chaotic scenes at Heathrow Airport over the past few days could soon hit Gatwick. The fallout from the strike by British Airways check-in staff continued to make life a misery for travellers today. Hundreds of passengers were left waiting outside of Terminal 4, while hundreds more were crammed inside, stuck in long check-in queues. A multi-million-pound transport scheme is threatening decades of military tradition, history and friendship. Planners want to build a superhighway for buses between Gravesend, Dartford and the Bluewater shopping centre. But in the middle of the proposed route stands a treasured base for more than 100 veterans of the Second World War, as John Ryle reports.
60 years on, some of the planes have lasted, so have many of the few, the pilots. And so has this historic meeting place, Dartford's Battle of Britain Memorial Hall, home to the 146 members of Dartford's Royal Air Forces Association. But tonight, the servicemen who survived the Luftwaffe and the U-boats are fighting a new battle. Their meeting place for the last 50 years stands in the way of a proposed £15 million, 5-mile bus highway that will ferry passengers between Dartford, Gravesend and the Bluewater shopping centre. Kent County Council, backed by a compulsory purchase order, say the centre must be demolished, and it looks like this is a battle the planners are going to win.
It's devastating to us. As far as I can see, it will be the finish of the club. And they'll just pack up coming, and the whole club will disappear. That's my opinion of it anyway.
The County Council say rejigging the bus route is impossible.
We have looked at various ways of trying to avoid the building but I'm afraid the angles and the difficulty of adjusting it will just not make it possible. There'd have to have been very, very significant earth movements, and in any event, the building will probably be inusable anyway.
But the RAF veterans of Gravesend and Dartford have vowed to fight on. The battle to save the Memorial Hall is far from over.
A man's died, a second man is missing and a third is in hospital after a diving accident off the Sussex coast. The incident happened 15 miles off the Shoreham coastline this afternoon. All three men were believed to be experienced divers. Specialist police officers are now checking the diving equipment. On to sport and one cricket result to bring you. Sussex Sharks are hosting Durham, or were hosting Durham Dynamos in the National Cricket League. Sussex defeated Durham by 8 runs. Durham 161 all out in reply to Sussex's 169 for 9 wickets. That's it from the late news team for now. We're back with the first of our bullies in GMTV tomorrow morning. Now, though, we return to ITV and Bill Neely.